The Hulk that shows up in Spider-Man, Brand New Day, is not the Hulk Marvel trained you to expect. And once you understand where he actually comes from, the trailer starts looking a lot more unsettling. Here's what most people think they know about the Hulk. A brilliant scientist. A gamma radiation accident. A monster born from a lab mistake. Simple. Clean. Almost a fairy tale. It's also mostly wrong. Spider-Man. Brand New Day is bringing Bruce Banner back into the MCU on July 31st, 2026, and the trailers have already shown him transforming right in front of Peter Parker. What looks like a straightforward hero cameo is actually sitting on top of one of the darkest, most misunderstood origin stories in the entire Marvel Universe. And once you know it, you can't unsee it in that trailer footage. Let's start with the accident everyone remembers. In The Incredible Hulk, Bruce Banner is a genius scientist working on a weapons program testing a gamma bomb. When the detonation is about to go off, Banner realizes a young man named Rick Jones has wandered into the blast radius. He runs out to save him, pushes Rick clear, and gets caught in the exposure himself. That part, most fans know. Here's the part almost nobody talks about. That dose should have killed him. Lethal gamma radiation doesn't turn ordinary people into monsters. It kills them. So why didn't it kill Bruce Banner? The films gloss over this with a line about his genetics absorbing and redirecting the radiation into his muscle fibers instead of destroying his cells outright, which is also, conveniently, why his blood doesn't kill his cousin Jennifer Walters when she becomes She-Hulk. Their genetic baseline is compatible with gamma exposure in a way most people's isn't. But genetics was never the real answer. The real answer is what Marvel spent decades burying, then finally confronted head-on. Bruce Banner had an abusive childhood. His father, Brian Banner, beat him regularly. Bruce grew up so afraid of his own home that he built imaginary identities in his head just to survive its psychological escape hatches. One of them was a version of himself that couldn't be hurt. One of them was a version of himself that could hit back. Then it got worse. Brian Banner killed Bruce's mother in front of him, and Bruce, a child, didn't even feel safe enough to grieve. If he showed how devastated he was, his father would come after him next. So he sat there, silent, holding in the kind of pain a child should never have to hold in alone. This is documented, canon Marvel history first introduced by writer Bill Mantlo in the 1980s, and explored in devastating detail decades later in Al Ewing's Immortal Hulk run. Marvel eventually gave this condition a clinical name, dissociative identity disorder. The same condition explored through Mark Spector in Moon Knight. The difference is that Moon Knight's alters became the entire point of his show. Bruce Banner's alters got turned into a green rampage machine and mostly left there, because that's what the Hulk actually is. Not a side effect of radiation, a manifestation of a mind that had already fractured years before that gamma bomb ever went off. The bomb didn't create Bruce Banner's broken psychology, it just gave it a body. Now here's a detail even a lot of comic readers don't know. The Hulk wasn't originally green. In his first appearance, he was gray. That was actually a printing mistake. The coloring process couldn't hold the gray consistently issue to issue, so Marvel switched him to green and then built a story reason for it after the fact. The gray form was the raw, undeveloped version of the Hulk, and green was what emerged once Bruce and the Hulk had a more established bond. That gray version has its own name, and it matters a lot for what's coming. He's called Joe Fixit, sometimes Mr. Fixit, and he is by every measure more dangerous than the Green Hulk. Not because he's stronger, because he's smart. In one of the most interesting stretches of Hulk comics, a psychiatrist named Doc Samson, a fellow gamma-powered character, but one built for intelligence rather than raw force, figures out how to physically separate Bruce Banner and the Hulk into two independent bodies. For a while it works. Bruce gets his life back. He even gets married. But the Hulk, cut loose with no direction, goes on a rampage so severe that the Avengers start actively trying to kill him. Because if the Hulk dies, Bruce is finally, permanently free. It takes Rick Jones, now an adult, to stop that plan. But separation comes with a cost. Both bodies start degenerating at a molecular level because they were never meant to exist apart. Vision eventually helps merge them back together. And when Bruce and the Hulk remerge, the Hulk that comes out isn't green. He's gray again, street smart, manipulative, ruthless, and furious that Bruce trapped him for years. This is Joe Fixit at his most dangerous. He strikes a deal with Bruce. Bruce gets the daylight hours. Joe Fixit takes the nights, and uses that time to become a Las Vegas casino enforcer with mob ties, quietly torching Bruce's savings, his career, his relationships, all without Bruce even being conscious for it. So why does any of this matter for a Spider-Man movie? Here's the connection. In Avengers, Age of Ultron, Bruce becomes the Hulk and doesn't get his body back for roughly 2 years all the way through Thor, Ragnarok. The films frame his eventual return, and the creation of Smart Hulk in Avengers Endgame, as a peaceful merger Bruce achieved through meditation and self-experimentation. But notice something, the Hulk was never asked. Bruce simply locked himself in a lab and forced the integration on his own terms. By the MCU's internal timeline, that means the Hulk hasn't had control of that body since roughly 2018, nearly a decade by the time Brand New Day takes place. And in the trailer, we've already seen Bruce wearing what looks like a refined version of the gamma inhibitor wristband first shown in She-Hulk, a device that either suppresses gamma buildup in his body or actively siphons it out. This next part is theory not confirmed by Marvel Studios, so take it as informed speculation rather than fact. But it's worth laying out because the pieces line up too cleanly to ignore. If the Hulk in this film is being triggered through an inhibitor malfunction rather than an organic transformation, his body may not be able to access a full, complete transformation, which mechanically tracks with a gray-toned Joe Fixit-style Hulk, rather than the fully realized Green Hulk from the earlier Avengers films. It would also explain something the marketing has quietly hinted at without spelling out. A Hulk who's smarter, more calculating, and arguably more dangerous in a fight against someone like Spider-Man than the pure rage green version ever was, because a version this cunning doesn't just swing wildly, he'd actually try to win. If Marvel goes this route, it also just makes narrative sense for the fight. A full-power Green Hulk realistically flattens Spider-Man in seconds. A leaner, restrained, gray-toned Hulk gives an evolving, radioactively mutating Peter Parker an actual chance to hold his ground. So when that trailer footage shows Bruce transforming right in front of Peter, that's not just a cool superhero cameo. It's nearly 10 years of a locked-away identity finally getting loose again. And if the comics are any indication of what that identity wants, friendly isn't going to be part of the deal. If this kind of deep dive breakdown is your thing, hit subscribe. This channel exists to dig past the trailer and into the actual mechanics of these stories. And really, drop a like if you didn't know Bruce Banner's real origin before this video. I'm guessing a lot of you didn't. Here's the part I actually want to hear from you on. Do you think Marvel goes the Grey Hulk route here? Or do you think the trailer's green coloring is exactly what we'll get on release day? Be honest, which theory are you betting on? Say it in the comments because I genuinely want to see where this fanbase lands before July 31st. That's the real story behind Bruce Banner, and possibly the real story about to hit theaters. If you want more breakdowns like this before Brand New Day releases, subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.